Well, hello everyone. My name is Virginia Warren, and welcome to Love and Law Live. Now, today I'm going to talk to Cassandra Kalpaxis. She's running a little bit late, but this is the beauty of going with the flow and being live. It also gives me the opportunity to have a few words about why I did this series. This, in fact, is the last broadcast in this series, as we are moving on to more interesting, in-depth things. I was motivated to start this broadcast when I met this fabulous man at a networking event. He was a lawyer. I won't sort of give any indication who he was, because he told me if I said anything, he would deny it. But he was telling me one day, I think it was he felt my energy and just generally what I was talking about. And I felt that he was on my plane of existence, that he too likes playing with his tarot cards and his crystals, and basically is sitting in his crystal closet. And he looks like, for all intents and purposes, the exact opposite of a person you would think that would be in that sort of spiritual realm and that likes to play with the metaphysical. It was at that point I thought to myself, how many more of us are out there that see the world in such a different way and have to fit ourselves in to this model that has been created. It's a construct, this legal system. It's about authenticity. And if you're not being or living an authentic life, something feels off within you. And that's my belief as to why we I'm just trying to work out as to why we are. I'm sorry, I've just got to work out here what is going on with this broadcast, because Cassandra's being asking to come into the studio. This is the fun part. Yes, we're just having a few technical difficulties. So if you could listen with some background music at the moment, that would be amazing. Okay, you're backstage. What does that mean? See you. Invite. Oh, okay, backstage. Well, I have no idea how to get someone from backstage. Let's just. We might just. This has not happened to me before. Invite, share. All right, let's. I cannot see. See her now. So I'm just going to just finish what I was saying about that. It is because of the beautiful lawyers I've met in the space that aren't feeling authentic and don't feel that they can be themselves is a great shame, because we are missing out on so much talent and so many beautiful perspectives of connecting with humanity. As lawyers, we are trained to be a certain way and fit into a certain mold. Apparently, that's what society expects. However, it really is for those lawyers out there that want to make a change, for them to personally step in and say, no, hang on, this is me. I'm coming into this space now. So at some point, I was calling myself a lawyer and conflict alchemist. I am a modern shaman, and I'm also trained to be a lawyer. I now apply natural laws as opposed to the man-made ones because I don't believe they're as effective. So that's my element of authenticity. In the very last episode of this series, I would like to welcome Cassandra Kalpaxis to our studio. And I'm going to introduce her. So I'm going to add her to the stream now. Hello, Cassandra. How are you? Great to see
Hello.
you.
Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here at the end of the year as well.
Yeah, it is. It's to see you. And I would just like to tell the audience a little bit about you because this is really important. Cassandra's backstory is exactly what we're talking about here. So Cassandra started doing work experience for a family friend when she was about 14 and fell in love with the law. She clerked over the school holidays, got a job as a paralegal, and then worked her way up to principal lawyer of her collaborative family and fertility law firm, Kalpaxis Legal. Sounds a little like my story. After a few years, she then created a dispute resolution centre which hosts an array of collaborative and holistic professionals who aim to triage separation from all angles. After years of litigating, she finally found her peace in alternative dispute resolution and also whilst working with families in an array of ways other than from the legal lens. She brings love into law after she suffered with a huge identity crisis for many years practicing law. She felt like society expected her to do things a certain way because of the perception of what a lawyer looks like, and particularly a family lawyer. She became miserable practicing traditional law, and each year when the renewal of her practicing certificate came around, she struggled as to whether she would continue. That's exactly what I want to talk to you about today, Cassandra. So, welcome to the show. And
Thank you.
thank you so much for sharing this information because, as I was saying at the beginning of this, there are so many lawyers I've met that don't want to talk about their personal perspective and say it's safe. It's actually be yourself, you'll have a better life. And people, you're very surprised. As you said, you attract in the clients that suit you
Yeah.
and give you some purpose. So, tell me about this. Tell me at what point you felt that this wasn't aligning with you anymore.
I think it's always kind of been in the background, but I got to the point where enough was enough about 5 years ago. It was a really dark place for me in terms of my mental health. And it's funny because it's actually not funny, but amongst lawyers, we have this joke, "Oh, it's just the job. It's just the way it is. Pull yourself up. Tomorrow will be a different day." We all kind of feel like that. And upon reflection, I got to the stage where I thought, this isn't normal. This isn't who I am. It's not normal to feel like this every day, every year when that renewal comes in. I should love my job. I should love being able to get up every day and feel like I'm doing what I want to do authentically. And that for me was the pivotal moment where I said, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to start doing this the way that I want to do it.
And what steps did you take to make that change?
For me, it was about opening a company that stood out and really presented to people that we do law differently and we're okay with being different. And we understand that we're not going to be for everyone, and that's completely fine. But we are for the people who align with our values. And that took a lot of courage. There was a lot of back and forth in my mind and with my peers around opening an amicable collaborative law firm, particularly at a time when that wasn't very popular, and just backing myself and telling myself that it was going to be okay. And that's essentially what I did. I had to go and open on my own and kind of find my people. And that took a while.
Isn't it the most beautiful thing? It's called following your heart, and it is a thing. It's a real thing. And when you have the courage to do that, because it is about this is what my teaching is love is a state of being without fear.
Yeah.
So when you choose to move forward and make decisions without fears, you find everything feels better. Yes, it takes courage because at the first instance, it doesn't fit the model and it doesn't fit what other people are questioning you, which then, you question yourself. Am I doing the right thing? Am I crazy? I've been in this space for quite a number of years and exactly the same thing. But the beautiful thing is more and more lawyers are coming out into that space. And I think more of
Yeah,
humanity is they're saying, no, we're not doing things in an effective way to have a bright future and how to live in unity. And so
absolutely.
you work in fertility law as well. That's such an interesting space. So
Yeah.
I haven't met a fertility lawyer. So what's your main area of practice? Is it family dispute resolution type things and a lot
Yeah,
of fertility law? Or?
absolutely. It's definitely a mix. We do a lot of ADR type separation, but in addition to that, I love being able to see people who want to create life either on their own or as a family unit. And we help them do that through surrogacy. We do it through egg donor, sperm donor agreements, and really just give the overall tools that are needed to be able to bring a baby into the world for the people who so desperately want to be able to do that. And that's a really beautiful, rewarding part of my practice.
Yeah, that is absolutely beautiful. It's gift giving, and you're part of the whole process. So I'm
Yeah,
sure you're pretty close to those clients that you've helped sort of facilitate those things because yeah, it's a
absolutely.
path I don't know about, and that's absolutely fascinating. And you say you have also a centre that you triage separation from all angles and from other than a legal lens. So tell us a little bit about how you do that.
Yeah, so for me, when I was practicing traditional law, I was really fundamentally uncomfortable with the principle of being a lawyer who gets the client, you sit down with them, you go through the checklist of stuff, and separation is really emotional. It's 80% of the problem when you're dealing with a client. And we as lawyers are really trained to just kind of go over the yucky emotional stuff and be like, that's not really our problem. You need to go and see somebody else. And I got to the stage where I thought, hang on, if I'm going through something really emotional and I'm seeing someone who's really dismissive about that, that's not treating the problem. That's making me feel like I need to do something outside of my comfort zone to be able to be in this meeting and then go out and be emotional later. And that's just not how we do things. So I kind of got to the stage where I thought, if I was experiencing a medical issue, I see a doctor and then I might follow up with my care provider who might be a GP, and then I might see a nurse, and then I might see someone externally to be able to go through that event. Why are we not doing that in separation?
Mm,
Why are we
yeah.
not telling people at the time that we see them, are you getting ready for mediation? Amazing. Why don't you sit with a holistic counselor and talk about what the issues were in your separation so that you can be prepared to have that conversation in mediation? Are you working with a lawyer? Great. Maybe you need to see a divorce coach to be able to have somebody in your corner to talk through all of those technical legal issues, but also to really ensure that what's underpinning your separation is being dealt with and that you can advocate for yourself in mediation. And so I got on the
Yeah.
phone to my business partner one day, who is a very traditional lawyer, and said, I want to do this. And it just makes sense to me. And after we had that conversation, he said, yeah, you know what? It makes sense to me too. So let's do it. And we've had
Wow.
DRCA up and running now for 12 months. And it has just been so fundamentally rewarding to see people going through that process and giving us feedback that it is what they needed to be able to come out healed from their
Yeah.
separation all the way through, not just the legal aspect.
Because the bottom line is, and even for lawyers, we as lawyers, as you say, you just put that aside and you go and that's your job. No, this is your life. This is your
That's
whole
right.
life. Being a
Yeah.
lawyer is your whole life at this
Yeah.
particular point in time. That's what you're choosing. So how can you just switch that on and off?
You
And the same
can't.
for a client going through separation and having to be challenged by the legal system who that doesn't really care about you anyway.
Yeah.
Um, how you manage all that as a whole person is very, very that's beautiful. I love that. That's really, really lovely. And it's so refreshing to hear that, yeah, you had a traditional lawyer as a partner who said, yeah, he felt, is it a he or
It
she?
is, yeah, it's a he, and, he's been practicing law now for 25 years, so he's very much ingrained with the traditional law concept.
Yeah. So he obviously felt that there was some sort of shift needed as well. So that is really so beautiful. And Yeah, so you undertook some mentoring to realize that you are able to do and become the person that you really needed to be. And that is such great advice for anybody because getting up for work in the morning, I imagine that's different now for you.
Yeah. And you hear about it all the time, live your authentic life. And you think, well, I am, I got a law degree. I'm a lawyer. But when you're doing something that you actually aligns with your values, that you love, that you can identify with, that you're passionate about, I get up in the morning, I'm like, yeah, I love work. Like, I want to be here. I want to work with the clients that I'm working with. Whereas before, it was very much Sunday would roll around and that imminent sense of dread of Monday morning would be there the whole day.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so true. And there's so many people that feel like that and they numb the pain because they think, I don't want to do this tomorrow. And it's
Yeah,
even avoiding clients, avoiding talking to people, and it's just exacerbating the problem rather than engaging and
exactly.
saying, I really love this. But of course, we're protecting our identities, aren't we? We thought, as you said, that people expected this of us. We
Yeah.
went and we trained into law. How did you get in? How did you said that you uh, fell in love with the law. So you went through law school. Did you do it the traditional method? You went straight to law school. How did you feel about law school?
I was really arrogant. I was working at a firm that entire time. I was doing, the real life law stuff. And in law school, thought, oh, that's not how you practice, whatever. This is
Yeah,
just the stepping stone that I need to be able to do this. And,
yeah,
getting out and being a lawyer, even though I had worked in a firm and was doing full day with a firm and then lawyer like studying at night. When I became a principal of a law firm, I look back on that person now and I'm like, you knew nothing. Like, you go back to law school. That's where you needed to be.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm interested in people's view of law school in that way anyway, because it's different tracks we go down and what we expect from law school and what it's going to be. Yeah, it does not train you for the
Nothing
real
like that.
world of law. It
No,
just helps you like look up the law book and but yeah, that's how I interpret it. But we know it's a game anyway and that everyone will interpret it differently and that the
exactly.
practicalities of how many times I've had to look up law have been
Yeah, and I'm
very,
seeing that
very
more and
minor.
more
Mm,
with, people who are coming out of law school and me having to have those really transparent conversations with them as an employer where I'm saying to them, what you're expecting is not going to be your experience. As
yeah.
long as you're okay with that and you're open to what is going to be your normal day-to-day life as a lawyer, that's fine. But don't step into this space with expectations of what law school has trained you for this to be because it's going to be nothing like that.
And isn't it crazy? Why are we training our law students not to and it's like to me, it's like when they took us to pre-birthing class
Yeah,
and they said, "Oh, you got to think about how much pain you're going to have." No, what happens when you get the baby home?
that's exactly right. They
That's when the
prepare you for
life
the thing
starts.
that's not even as anywhere near as invasive as the moment you get that baby home. That's
Right,
right.
exactly. So I find it really fascinating. And for intelligent human beings that lawyers are, I don't understand that. And yeah, the amount of times I've actually had to, you learn of the changes in the law and then you keep applying it. And yeah, it's strategic. There's positions. It's
Yeah.
uncomfortable, and yeah, that's when I really worked my way too out of that space. I thought, no, I don't do it like that anymore. I, in fact, look at people when they're in the conflict to say, okay, how can you benefit from this? Because
Yeah.
every conflict you face is an opportunity to look at how you're responding to your life because your life is your
Absolutely.
response to it. Yeah, that's fantastic. And I love what you're doing because there are so, you're part of the Kind Lawyers group as well.
I know Peppy really, really
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
I'm not
that's
part of her amazing organization, but I'm working very closely with them in 2022. We've got some amazing collaborations going on.
oh, fantastic. Are you able to speak on any of that or?
Yeah, we're both very passionate about education and educating our future lawyers and also our clients who are going through what is a really difficult period of time. And together we're trying to basically tackle those fronts where we talk about it's okay to be doing this differently. And it's
Yeah,
okay
yeah.
that if you don't want to go through a separation that fits the traditional mold, that's completely fine because you don't have to. And if you're a lawyer who wants to do that differently, again, that's completely fine and you don't have to. So it's really about making sure that we're normalizing what we are respectively
Yeah,
doing in our individual firms and
yeah.
encouraging people to do that more often.
I love that. And this is exactly why I did this program. Yeah, it's been going for nearly over 12 months. And I just thought just to give a voice to a movement that is shifting, and it's global. It is global. I think Australia was a bit slower to catch on. America, was they're very big on collaborative law. And the
Absolutely.
lawyer I spoke to last in the last episode, Kevin, he explained that he made more money in collaboration than in litigation.
Yeah.
And if that was a fear for people that, oh no, it's all touchy feely and I'm not going to make any money, no one's going to pay for that. You've got to be kidding. People want you to help them
They need
through
the
what
connection.
they're going through. Yeah, to be heard and held metaphorically, so that yes, I'm here, I'm being heard, and how can we move through this as a team? How can we feel that we have community when we're done? Because you met the person, the love of your life, if it's family law, and you meant that at the time.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah, that's it. So why are we tearing it all up and blaming and shaming people? That's what our system has done, I believe, and
Yeah.
I think it's time for to the word love is taboo. Uh, Globally, probably people don't know how to deal with it, don't know how to say it, don't know it hurts. But as lawyers for love are talking love, it's a state of beingness. It's not the doing part. You've got to learn how to be in a state of being without fear, and that's a trained thing. It's humanity, I believe, has we've been indoctrinated in fear. Do
Yeah.
something, and this is my favorite saying, because the snail in the bottle case, that famous "love thy neighbor," but the law says "love thy neighbor, else shall be punished." Well, now, what is that?
Yeah.
What is that? That's fear based.
Yeah.
That's helping you live your life. If you don't do it how we say, your parents says, then we'll send you to your room. Now, how do you get love out of that? And how do you help
It's so
community? You
true.
don't. You just get more resentment. So that's the way we see it, and we're just trying to say, let's show people how to be more loving. People want that.
Amongst the
People
community and
unity.
amongst,
That's it.
the clients. Like we have I constantly say this and I find myself ranting on LinkedIn these days. Maybe I'm just getting old, but I find myself forever saying to lawyers, you have a fundamental obligation to be kind to the people that you share your workspace with, whether it's your physical workspace or the workspace that you share online. Be kind, be considerate of each other, encourage each other to strive to be successful. Please don't spend your days sitting there tearing each other down. And that is so common in law. And it is so utterly disappointing because that's not the reason that we all went to law school.
Yeah, we most of us came in from a place of service. Some wanted
Yeah.
money. That's fine. There's nothing
Wrong
wrong with money.
industry.
Yeah, but still, that's exactly right too. But there is nothing wrong with money anyway, and there's that whole perception around that. But you are so right, and the way I see it too is that it's all energy. So when we start
Yeah,
teaching from the perspective it's all energy and frequency, then you can understand that if I'm tearing you down, I'm tearing me down.
that's
Isn't
right.
that funny? So if we start lifting each other up and saying how fantastic you are, because then it means I'm seeing that what I see in myself, I see in you. And then, because I see a lot in someone when they're tearing me down, it's just like, oh dear, look at you.
Exactly. It speaks
And
volumes.
yeah, it does, doesn't it? So it is absolutely amazing if people can learn that if I lift you up, I'm lifting me up as well. Yeah.
You're right.
Oh, well, I love that you and Peppy are working together next year. And so this is a beautiful way to sort of finish my season on this sort of broadcast, is to know that there's wonderful, wonderful lawyers out there doing this work and showing everybody that it can all be done a different way. Um, and there are many creative ways, I think, to bring that kindness,
Yeah.
not just say collaborative law and these sorts of things. There's so many ways that we can just be humans. And yeah, see the humanity in it. I think lawyers became afraid of really connecting with their client because they felt that, oh no, I don't want to be involved in your problem. But guess
Yep.
what, you are.
You're there to triage the problem. You're there to answer the questions. You're the recipe that they need for success in being able to transition through whatever they're going through. And it's really funny because the way that Peppy and I actually met was at a retreat where there were no seats for us anywhere, and we ended up sitting at the kids' table. And we met that way, and just the synergy of being able to then, many years on, continue on and say, well, maybe we're not supposed to be part of the mainstream. Maybe we're supposed
Yeah.
to do something
Oh,
different. I think that was a bit of energy in the universe saying, you know what, these two are pretty much aligned to be able to do great things together. So,
oh, I
if you're
love
finding
that.
yourself as a lawyer and feeling really uncomfortable and really dissatisfied, Virginia, you're doing amazing things with this podcast in educating people around that, but it's time for a change.
Yeah. Oh, it is. Look, and next year, from my point of view, is I'm bringing next level, just ideas on. Um, let's put it this way: we're opening people's minds.
Yeah,
Look at the system you're in. Is it working? That's a
yeah,
question, and I'm providing a whole lot of mind-opening themes on that. So that's where Lawyers for Love are headed in that space too. So we're all doing our little
incredible.
bit. So I love what you guys are doing. I can't wait to see it. Of course, we're all connected, so I'm going
You'll
to be
say it
very
for sure.
excited about that. I know, I know. So I'm so happy you're able to join me today. I know you're running late from court, and that's life, the life of a busy lawyer,
Yep,
and this time of the year as well. And no doubt that the systems are all a bit clogged up.
absolutely.
Um, so thank you so much today, Cassandra, for being involved. I'd like to just thank all our viewers, all the lawyers globally that have come onto this program to bring their version of love into legal practice, and not be afraid, to be themselves, because that is, let's just be ourselves. We need individual perspectives. We don't need cookie cutters. I don't want to see the same
No,
cookie. I want to see different people bringing their plate of food to the table. So once again, thank you so much, Cassandra. I'm
thank you for
closing out
having
the
me.
season. Thank you all, and it's been wonderful. So thanks again from Lawyers for Love and Love and Law Live.